Hi, and we are glad to welcome you at our Unicorn.Events shows. Today we are speaking with manager partners at Arete Ventures, Gaurav Shah. Dear Gaurav, thank you for dedicating your time.
Hi, Lena. Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hi, Gaurav. You know that we are making short interviews with VC funds all over the world
Mhm,
to help
mhm.
startups to approach the right people in the right one place.
Our first question is, what industry does your VC fund invest in?
So, Lena, we are sort of sector agnostic, but given the today's trend, our focus lies towards food tech, renewable energy, and life sciences.
Great. So you are geography agnostic.
We are, Kate. I mean, we do focus towards deal in US if we can, but location has never been a challenge for us because these days, all businesses have a potential to spread out and branch out, and there are opportunities everywhere, right? So US remains the home ground for us, and so does Southeast Asia, but we are location agnostic overall.
Okay, so what is your average check size?
It ranges anywhere from $200,000 for the VC side of the world, which is our startups raising Series A, Series B, going up to million to million point five, 1.5 million.
So have you already raised any unicorn from your portfolio, from your startups yet?
Not yet, Kate. We would love to, right? But no, we are too early in the journey, having just begun investments in our new fund, just about less than a year back, I would say. But no, I mean, down the line, if these investments work out well, we are hoping one or two would hit the unicorn status, right?
Okay, so Gaurav, tell us a little bit how you choose future unicorns to your portfolio.
Oh, very interesting question, Lena. You know, I think investment is still more of an art rather than a science, and there never is a perfect recipe for picking the unicorns, right? But I think what can be bettered is the investments or the people pitching the strategy. What we particularly look for is the potential of ideas down the line, right? When you're doing venture capital kind of investments, you are looking at the potential of a business, not just from 12 or 18 months perspective, but what would that be 3 to 5 years from now, right? So we do our internal research on what kind of sectors, what kind of businesses we feel could have the potential in the long run to go. So the number one thing is, what sector you are in. We try not to be in the crowded space a bit. And second, I think which we have a criteria, and I'm sure other investment firms might have it too, is, you know, investment is as much as investment is about idea and the potential and the technology. I think it is about the people driving those ideas. So the leadership teams matter a lot. And when we say leadership teams, we don't mean to say that you need to have tremendous experience raising startups or raising investment, but you need to have a vision towards your own ideas. You could be starting a venture for the first time, and that's totally fine, as long as this venture is sort of your baby, right? It's your passion. You have done your homework, you know why this will work, you understand the competition, and most of all, right, the journey for startups to a growth mode or to being a corporate is never going to be easy, right? Um, do you have the ability to battle the odds? That's the number one thing, right? You need to be tough with the overall potential of your company. And what I mean by that more is, you know, it's not going to be an easy ride, and you need to be prepared. How strong are you to deal with the odds, challenges, competitions, and other things? So I would say ideas and sectors matter. We love to go into these sectors that have a potential in the future. They may not have a market and an audience, but we wouldn't mind guiding the teams given the kind of experiences we have. At the same time, we would want to make sure that the teams or the people that are pitching the ideas also understand the ups and downs of the growth journey and the success journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And if we are talking about the pitching, what is the main criteria for you to look at? So maybe passion of the founder, or I don't know, structure of the pitch deck, etc.
So, Kate, I think the single most thing I would want to see in those short 3-minute pitches is why you are different and how you are different. See, most of the sectors that participants present, investors are somewhat, if not well, familiar with those things, right? So they understand the markets, the people, the competition, and those things. I would always urge participants, at least when we mentor them one-on-one, we always tell them that focus your time, these 3 minutes, on why your idea is unique and how does it differentiate. What is the idea differentiator in your own sector? Tell investors that. After that, when they like the pitch you have and what you are focusing, they can ask you all gazillion questions after the pitching is over. What is your team? What is the markets? This, that. But I always tell them that don't create the generics, okay? Who our team is, where we are, those things matter. But see, you only have 3 minutes to appeal to an investor, and there is group of investors. When you have things mentioned on your slide, let it flow on its own. You talk to investors straight up as to what idea do you have and why do you think it is different? If you are competing in AI, machine learning, or tech, or whatever that may be, investors understand these sectors. Most likely they might have some investments in some parts of the world and they would know the pros and cons of this side. Don't try to go towards that side. Pitch to the mindset of an investor, in which is, listen, this is my pitch and this is why it is different than what others are doing, and this is why we think it could work. That can, I think, engage an investor to explore more. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. And the next question, what is the most important is the pitch deck? What is the most important slide from your point of view?
Conviction and determination, I would say, Elena. Many a times I see so many startup entrepreneurs coming up with ideas. Many a times it's they're working in some organization and they see an opportunity. Sometimes they feel that everyone is participating and the pot is even bigger, we all can participate, and others, and they ride on the trend. I think as investors want to find out what's motivating the entrepreneur for this pitch. That I think is one of the key questions I would see, right? And many investors want to see what's driving you. You may be from one of the finest schools. You may be, you may have invested your own angel or seed funding from your own, and you may have the intellectual property or knowledge domain or subject. But what's driving you and how far can you take this, right? Your visions around with it and what motivates you. I think I would want to see that more. And again, the other side is, I feel determination drives intelligence. If there is an idea that is very closer to your heart, you will be automatically motivated to go beyond the ordinary, right? Which is just growth and profitability, right? But if you love what you do, that thing can take you to great heights. So we would want to see that determination and conviction that, this is not an idea I am pitching because I know or I came across, but rather this is an idea that I think I can grow for next few years, and I see lots of opportunities, and it's the passion that would bring out the ideas and opportunities. Because many a time, these opportunities and SWOT analysis and what else you do, they are not a cookie cutter template, right? They can be unique, very unique. I was just talking to someone today, and we were discussing how technology could enable some of the very conventional industries. And some of these founding members and investors want to hire very different skill set of leaders. Like I know some property tech investors that just want to bring people in real estate, the C-level teams, from technology and AI side, even though it's on the construction. And I was curious when I spoke with them just early today morning, and they were like, Gaurav, that's what drives these deals forward, right? It's a fresh mindset. So again, opportunities cannot be just having a particular template that everyone else is doing this, so my strategy is similar. But it can go outside the ordinary if you're willing to spend time and think through it. Where else can I apply, rather than thinking what else everyone is doing?
Thank you.
As you can see at our Unicorn events this year, founders face new challenges. On the one hand, a new online world allowed to pitch in front of international VCs in any region. On the other hand, it is much more difficult to keep the attention via Zoom rather than to do it offline. So that's why I want to ask you, what's the online pitch tips you can provide to our startups to get your investors' attention?
Very, very good point, right, Kate? I mean, we are transitioning from an offline world where you would have all these investment competitions and participants are live in front of the judges and the investors, right? And now it has gone to an online world. I think the way the startup participants should think is their canvas is expanding, as we have seen at many unicorn events, right? Some participants are out in Japan or Serbia or Germany. The one of the wonderful thing that this online participation is doing is giving global access to investors, right? So many in different parts of the world, so many investors could spot an eye and they may want to invest or look. So I think that the online participation gives startups more opportunities to engage. Also, it provides you with more feedback. See, many a times it's not just about which investor wants to write a check, but it is also about an investor that may have some experience in that sector and can guide those startups, which can be very valuable if they get some kind of feedback. That is what startups always want, right? Besides investment, some feedback that can help them grow and scale. So I think that opportunity exists. Now comes the question, what can they do to attract them, right? Like I said, I think one of the things that these startup participants should do is not just rehearse their 3-minute pitch, but plan the pitch. It many a times seems like they go through the slides, which is not a bad strategy at all. But what they could do better is explain what's not in the slides. You go beyond the unknowns and tell them that how this idea has evolved and why this idea has a potential. And I think that could attract, like I was saying to Lena at the start of this interview, that go beyond the ordinary. Don't hesitate. If you are creating a startup idea, there is a likelihood that you have done tremendous amounts of research. You have tremendous amounts of data, insights into the competitive intelligence as well. Find out what's unique, find out what's boutique and what's the problem. Because see, as every industry grows, so do the challenges. It's not that when you are addressing a problem, you actually have solved a problem. You have improved the problem, but with every evolution, there comes some pros and cons. Having that ability to do that insight and research into what's ailing probably can attract so many investors out there who themselves would be surprised. You wouldn't believe there are few pitches we have had in our unicorn events where I saw some of the data and I myself was surprised with the kind of work and beliefs these leaders had, right? I even reached out to them, I spoke with them because they deserve that merit, right? And I would again say this, don't push yourself to be out of the league. You could stay within the league. Just go beyond the ordinary. Think what could be done different and how do you present that to the investors in those 3 minutes. Try to rehearse, try to pitch and strategize. What do I want to keep my focus on? And I think that would do the charm and help them. It's a global canvas with online participation. And I believe all the startups should take full advantage of that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for so much detailed answer. And our Next question is, please give a piece of advice to the startups, something what will help them to succeed.
Quite a few things, right? Quite a few things. What would help them succeed is number one, as every startup entrepreneur should have, is the belief, right? That they have in the business plans they want to pursue into meaningful opportunities. So I would say belief is certainly the number one thing. The other thing that would help is meaningful research into the current state of affairs, right? Many startups could do quite well if they address the today's challenges and problems rather than just creating a sector specific problem, right? So I would say that to succeed, and when we say succeed, it's not just raising the investments, right? Because investment is one part of the equation. The other part obviously is you have to grow the company and take it to the next levels that you would always be proud of. Learn to embrace failures. In the last 15-20 years of myself having created startups and having mentored so many, I think many a times entrepreneurs, some, not all, they get little apprehensive that what if this fails. And I always tell them, create your plan B, that if your plan A doesn't work, this is where your journeys begin, right? This is the time when challenges emerge in growing a company. Your character will help you take the business to the next level. So create the plans, create the alternatives. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be overconfident or aggressive, but don't be afraid, because ups and downs and challenges are going to be a part of the startups, no matter who's investing, who's backing, or how extraordinary your idea is, right? So I think beliefs, and ability to look beyond the ordinary, and creating growth strategies that can thrive very well in the long run, would probably be only 3 tips to them.
Thank you, Gaurav. It was wonderful interview. Hope to see you at our online unicorn events in this summer season. So
absolutely, Kate. Absolutely. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Lena, for this wonderful interview. And I look forward to seeing you guys shortly at our unicorn events. Yeah.
Sure.
Of course, you did really great. Thank you again.